but that's what I am all about is, the hot mess, because I believe that each and every one of us is a hot mess, whether we want to admit it or not. Nobody's life is perfect. And it's the messiness that makes us human. It's also the messiness that connects us.
Yeah.
But it's also what we have the most guilt, shame, and judgment around.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And I just have an innate gift of being able to see the magic in the mess, the beauty in the broken, and the clarity in the chaos.
Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stefanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to up-level, manifest, and glow.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast. I have Michelle Burke here with me today. So, quick story of how I met Michelle. I went to Powerhouse Women Conference for my second year this past August, and it was total happenstance how we met. I mean, there's a chance we may have crossed paths earlier in the day, but we officially crossed paths the last night that I was in Scottsdale. She joined me for supper with four other gals, and it was just total happenstance. Like, you literally walked into the restaurant out on the patio, and we had an extra chair, and you were like, "Can I join you?" And we were like, "Yeah, more the merrier." And literally just like organically got to know each other. Leaving the conference then was within the month was when I decided, well, I did the Audacity Challenge with Lori Harder, like literally following that conference. You did the Audacity Challenge, connected, I think, through that briefly. We really didn't get a chance to connect much at supper that night in Scottsdale. I mean, it was like a large group of us, and there was just not a lot of like time to like intimately connect. But yeah, we connected through DMs, and then we did the Audacity Challenge, and then we both signed up. And I didn't realize you were signing up for working with Lori and Chris Harder through their mastermind. And so we've really connected since starting the mastermind together and kind of have become accountability buddies through that. And then I found out about your podcast, and then just recently found out about your book today and went on your podcast. And it's such, our relationship is just like, we are growing together, and we are really just like holding each other accountable to making big things happen in our business. So I recently was on Michelle's podcast, which is Hot Mess Magic. And that's really her whole brand, you guys. She also wrote a book called Hot Mess Magic that I just learned this morning that she is rewriting. So that's fun. But yeah, I just went on her podcast literally a week ago to talk about my own hot mess and how that magically transformed me. And truth be told, I've had some revelations since going on her podcast. That was the very first time that I've told the adoption story on my podcast. If you guys have listened to it, there's like a 2-part series about it. But this was the first time coming on Michelle's podcast that I told the true, like, raw, unfiltered version of that story. When I shared the story on my podcast, it was like, oh my God, I manifested a baby through adoption, and the beautiful, like, how all the manifestations and synchronicities unfolded. Like, that was how I told it on my podcast. When I went on to Michelle's podcast, it's like Michelle gave me permission to like share the messiness of it, which duh, that's your brand. Duh. But I have never given myself that permission to share the messiness of it. And I think I needed that permission from you, that permission slip. And it was like, oh my God, yeah, I've never actually given myself permission to be like, yeah, that 7-year journey was fucking hard. And I don't like, I gloss over it when I talk about it. And I talk about like all the wins and all the synchronicities that came out of it, but I have never really just sat and been like, there were parts of that. Like, you multiple times prompted me in that interview, Michelle, to be like, No, 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 but this was hard. 7 years was hard, and waiting and the uncertainty of knowing, are you gonna keep this baby? And I was like, when I got out of the interview, I was like, "Oh my god, she really, like, has this way about her with, like, digging through the mess to see the magic, hence hot mess magic." So, okay, that was a really long-winded introduction. Michelle, why don't you introduce yourself?
Parts of that night at supper were a hot mess.
Yep, yep, you're not wrong.
But that's what I am all about is, the hot mess, because I believe that each and every one of us is a hot mess, whether we want to admit it or not. Nobody's life is perfect. And it's the messiness that makes us human. It's also the messiness that connects us,
Yeah,
but it's also what we have the most guilt, shame, and judgment around.
yes, I would agree with that, yeah. Yeah, so talk about first off, like, talk about the transformation that people experience if they work with you. I'm just here. I would love for listeners to know, like, first and foremost, like, if people work with you, what does that transformation look like? Because I assume you really, I mean, on your podcast, you get people to really walk through the mess. But I imagine if people work with you, it's on so much of a deeper level.
Yeah. So I like to say that I crack you open like a Humpty Dumpty. Yet,
Yeah.
unlike all the king's horses and all the king's men, we put you back together again. But
Oof.
when we put you back together again, it's that next version of yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm holding you. Yes, I am going to trigger you beyond triggering you, but I am doing it wrapped in a giant hug.
That's amazing.
So it's, taking someone through that journey, and they might already be in the mess. 99% of the time, people, when they come to me, they are in the mess because they're like, "BTF.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why can't I seem to get out of my own way?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's 'cause we're repeating the same patterns, programming, conditioning, etc. And I just have an innate gift of being able to see the magic in the mess, the beauty in the broken, and the clarity in the chaos. So I can,
Hmm.
guide someone through the storm that they're in because I'm in the eye. Like if we're talking about a hurricane, like I'm in the
Yes.
eye of that hurricane and I can
Yes.
see what's ahead. It's like, okay, just keep going. And I know that's
Yes.
cliche.
I know, but you're right though. You are exactly right. I mean, as you're talking, I'm really thinking like that's similar to how I view my role when I am practicing therapy in therapy sessions. It's easy for me, right? Because I'm detached. I'm on the outside looking in at your story. So it's easy for me to see clarity when sometimes when you're in the middle of it and you're in the mess of the storm, like it's really hard to see that clarity. So you need that other body to pull that out for you.
Yeah. And sometimes I'll say to someone, like, take yourself out of it. Like, look at it from a bird's eye view. Because that's what we have to do sometimes is look at it from that bird's eye perspective. And the other thing that we have to do is, and it sounds so easy,
Yeah. Right.
let go of the judgment, the guilt, the shame, all those lower vibrational frequencies because they're not serving us. They're just that program that's keeping us on the hamster wheel.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering though, like, if you could speak to if a listener is hearing this and they're like, I love, like, she's going to meet me in the middle of my mess. But if the thought comes to them, like, I'm not ready to face, like, it can be really scary to face those low frequency emotions like shame, guilt, resentment, regret. It can be really freaking scary and daunting. And then it also feels like work, like in the traditional sense. It can feel like
Yeah.
heavy work. So, can you speak to the person who's like, yes, I wanna face this, but I don't wanna do that heavy work, like, it's daunting. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is daunting. And you don't eat a whole pizza in one bite.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like we take those little bites, little chunks, but it's also a matter of looking at where this root is coming from. So I have a background in traditional Chinese medicine, five element theory. So we dive into like the five element theory side of it to find out like what emotion like is running the show here. What organ is that emotion in? So this way we can take it to that next level because you can see like the pathology that forms once we start diving into that emotion and that element and even that organ, that it's in.
So you have experience or you've been trained in like Chinese medicine?
So I have not been formally
Sure, sure.
trained. Oh,
Okay.
I can't even really see that. I've gone through a healing modality that no longer like the healing modality no longer exists, which is why I kind of don't want to mention the name of
I
it.
get you. Yeah,
Uh,
I get that.
but the modality within itself was based within traditional Chinese medicine.
Cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, traditional Chinese medicine, spiral dynamics, kinesiology.
Yes.
So I'm trained in that modality, and I just took that deep dive into the five element theory within traditional Chinese medicine.
Hmm.
So I always bring it back to that because it's always that bigger picture.
Yeah.
Even with myself this morning, I went through something and I sat there and I went, this isn't making sense. It was like large intestine, like letting go, like finding inspiration, struggling to find inspiration. Like I'm not connecting the pieces here. And then when I stopped for a second, like stopped trying to make sense of it, because that's what we also try to do. We try to make sense
Yes.
of things.
Yes, we do.
When I stopped trying to make sense of it from the human perspective and looked at it in the bigger grand scheme of thing, where the large intestines is within the metal element. And so there are within the elements, there's fire, earth, metal, water, wood.
Okay.
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 And metal is the child of earth. So earth is metal's mother. So what was coming up for me was, yeah, that letting go was letting go of doing things the way that society, the way that everyone else says to do them, instead of doing them in a way that makes me feel nurtured. And I wasn't finding the inspiration because I wasn't feeling nurtured. I was like, okay, that makes complete sense now.
Right. Right. So just answering, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but just answering the question of like, in what ways do I need to give myself that nurturing energy that I'm not currently
Yeah.
getting?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Wow. It's almost like reparenting. That's the way I look at it, just because that's the lens I approach through therapy is
Mhm.
like, how do you need to be reparented? What can you give to yourself that you weren't given? And I feel like that's kind of the language you're using is like, there's something missing that you aren't being given. How can you give that to yourself?
Exactly. And it was all within content and social media and like showing up and how I'm supposed to be seen. It's like, yeah, no, you're not supposed to be consistent every single day. You're not designed to be consistent in
Yep.
showing up on social media every single day. And what do we hear? Be
Mhm.
consistent, show up daily, even if you
Yep.
don't have anything to say, show up.
Preach to that.
But it doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah. And
That's what I
it's not
needed to let
always,
go of, was
yeah.
that belief of showing up daily and being consistent within social media,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
instead showing up when I feel inspired.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important. That was a pill I had to swallow as well as like, I agree. It's powerful to show up every day, but it's not always aligned. And I really want my content to feel aligned. That was my word of the year last year was soul aligned. And I've really tried to follow that throughout every aspect of my life this year. Like I'm not agreeing to something if it's not soul aligned. I'm not going to something if it doesn't feel soul aligned. Like and same with content. Like I'm only posting if I got an intuitive hit about something or if it feels soul aligned. Like, there's all these trends with content creation and they don't all feel aligned. So you don't always have to hop on all of them. I get what you're saying.
Exactly, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what, the pattern was that I discovered for myself this morning. So it's like, I'm not only using this on other people, I'm using it on myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a lot of the work that you do with people, there's also this intuitive aspect to what you do. And honestly, I feel like so I've been really batch recording a lot of collabs in the last couple of weeks with all of the members through the mastermind program that we're in. And there's definitely a theme. It's like when you get to a certain level in business, it seems like almost everyone has learned to be connected to their intuition. And that's literally an aspect that comes up in almost every interview with all of these members. It's like everybody has that intuitive knowing now, or they've been connected to that part of that higher part of themselves. And so that obviously is a part of your business, right? Like that's an aspect that you bring through the work that you do, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Oh, because I am that clear channel. So,
Yes.
oh, it's to me and through me. So that's where when we sit down for a session, we ground, we center, and I start with, you know, there are going to be things that I say that I don't even know what I'm saying. Like it's just going to come
Right.
to me and I'm just going to say it.
Right. It might not make
It's
sense to you, but it should make sense to them.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
so don't, yes, I might trigger you. Actually, I most likely am going to trigger you.
Yep. Yep.
Look at that trigger. Look at what I said. Let's dive into why that's triggering you and tell me that I triggered
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
Most of the time, someone's face, their body language is going to say it anyway. But there's power in saying, like, stop.
I agree.
Or,
Yeah.
"Ooh, you just hit it, like, you just hit a nerve."
Yeah. Yep. I think it takes a lot of emotional maturity to be able to one, like bring up that, hey, I was triggered. And also, like, I recognize I need to work through this and address this trigger instead of just constantly avoiding it or just acknowledging it, but then moving on. Like, it needs to be addressed. Why is this coming up for me? Why did this bother me? Why am I insecure about this? Really, like, digging into that, there's so much power in that work. So you don't have to continue to be triggered on that specific issue.
Exactly. And I always look at triggers as a blessing.
Yes, agreed.
Oh, because they're an area where you still have work to do. Like we all have, things that trigger us. It doesn't
Yes.
matter who you
Yes.
are. All right. Because I just talked about this on, well, my podcast episode this week as
Mhm.
how we have a tendency of putting people on pedestals,
Yes.
thinking that they're better than us.
Yep.
No one is better than us.
Yep. Mhm. I literally just had this conversation with a girlfriend. She was at supper with us that Saturday night as well in Scottsdale. And I literally, somebody who was a speaker at Powerhouse dropped into her DMs and she DM'd Molly. She
You knew
DM'd
it was
me.
Molly.
Okay, yeah, I figured intuitively you would have known.
Yep.
Yeah, she DM'd me and she's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe like I cannot believe she of all people DM'd me. Like what? She's seeking me out? Like I am not there's no way." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like she's no different than you and I. She has the same struggles you and I have. Like she's built a business just like you and I are building our businesses. Like she's no different than us. She does the same things we do, has similar insecurities, I guarantee it. Like just take them down from that pedestal and ultimately that insecurity or that trigger is because I mean, I think we put people up there because we think like we're so below them, but when you can tell yourself like they're no different than you and I, they have the same struggles you and I have. I just think we have to like take them off that pedestal and realize we're actually all the same,
Yeah,
you
we
know?
are all the same. And it's also a matter of trusting yourself. It's like if you're gonna put something on a pedestal, put your intuition on a pedestal, put
There you
God
go.
on a pedestal, put
There you go.
source, a higher power on
Yeah.
a pedestal
Yeah.
is it is higher than you. It belongs
Yes.
on that pedestal.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Yeah. Very well said. So I'm just curious. I love a good story. And I assume hot mess magic was not just some random concept you pulled out of your ass one day. I'm assuming there's a story tied to this brand. So if you're willing to share, I would love to know like What was your mess that led to the creation of hot mess magic, if there was one?
So it's actually the reverse.
Okay, I'm here for it. Okay.
So I was at dinner. This was 2018. I
Okay.
was at dinner with Facebook friend. We were at a conference. It was the first time that we had met in person. So like we're sitting there, we're talking, like saying it's how great it is, like to finally be meeting after all these years. And she's talking, and I picked up my phone and I said, "I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude right now, but I have said three words come to me that really don't make sense together, but I know that these words mean something." And I wrote down words. The next day at the conference, which also happened to be the last day, uh, I'm sitting there and I start writing in my journal, like scribbling, and like I'm doing a little happy dance and in my seat. And a friend of mine across the room is texting me, going, "What the hell is going on over there? Like, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "It's my book. It's my book. It's my book." So clearly, those three words were hot mess magic. The last presenter of that day was a publisher. I pitched her on the spot.
Word.
Yes, literally, it came to me 10, 20 minutes later. I was pitching this publisher.
Wow, look at you being bold.
And she looks at me and she goes, "Most people don't hit a home run with their title on the first try. You just hit a home run. Let's connect once you're, home." And I was like, "Okay." So we connected, and what she had given me at that time, her proposal and everything just was totally out of my price range. I had no idea at that time, just like most people don't, as to how expensive it truly is to write a book.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Most people don't know
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't put it on the back burner, but I kind of did put it on the back burner. She had
because of
told
the
me to like
price.
start a blog, and I was like, blogging just didn't feel right.
Sure, sure. So the price really kind of deterred you at that time?
If she didn't, she didn't. Oh, what she was saying was in starting the blog, so this way I was building the content of the book. Now, as
Sure.
I look back, I kind of wish I did listen to her as to what happened next. So this was September that Hot Mess Magic had come to me. December, so 3 days before Christmas, my car full of Christmas presents was repossessed. January, I had bank accounts frozen. The end of March, the end of February, I take that back. The end of February, I had my landlord ask me to move out for his daughter to move in. April, I was sexually assaulted. July and August, there were nights I did not know where I was sleeping. My life literally became the hot mess. Like I lived it. Like every single thing that you could think of, every single mess, it just kept getting thrown at me. And it was a matter of like, all right, what are you doing that keeps getting you into these messes? How did you get here? What is this showing you? What is this teaching you? And, yeah, there's a lot of guilt and shame that comes up when your car's full of Christmas presents and it gets repossessed. Like getting your car repossessed in general has a lot of
Right.
shame to it. No, but
Sure.
when it's before Christmas, it's full of Christmas presents. Some of those Christmas presents weren't even my own. They were from my mom and my aunt and my grandma. So now having to call them
Yeah.
being like, "Hey, I'm not going to North Carolina for Christmas. And oh, yeah, by the way, neither are your Christmas presents."
Well, yeah. Yeah.
My parents are not helping out the situation in any way, shape, or form. But my stepdad was the biggest help out of everyone. It was having friends. A friend of mine who's a financial advisor tell me that he had a car repossessed that made me feel better.
Yeah. Yeah.
A friend who, is a multi six figure earner telling me that he had a car repossessed.
Mhm.
Having a mentor at the time who had, $1 million business. Tell me she had a car repossessed. Having another mentor tell me that she had a car
Yeah.
repossessed. It's
Yeah.
having people in my life say that, hey, I've
And
that made me feel better.
yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, I just recently was listening to a podcast episode by Lindsay Schwartz, and she had talked about like I had to get to a place where money was lacking to then get to a place where it was in abundance. It's like something needed to be removed for it to then build itself up. And it was really validating for me. Like she started somewhere too. Like she,
Exactly.
you need that validation from time to time.
Let's talk about something that drives me absolutely crazy. We have been conditioned to believe that fixing our health has to come with a trade-off. Want better sleep? Cool, here's a pill. Oh, but here's some grogginess, dependency, and a list of other side effects. Are you struggling with your hormones? Here's a medication that might help one thing, but then it's going to mess up 3 other things. It's exhausting. And honestly, it's BS. When I was going through my fertility journey, I hit a breaking point because every medication came with side effects that impacted my physical and my mental health. And I finally got to a point where I was thinking, there has to be a better way. I refuse to accept that this is just how it has to be. That's when I found Earthly Wellness, and it completely shifted how I approach my health. Here's what I love about Earthly. They believe you should be empowered to make your own informed health choices. They create herbal remedies and body care products that support your health naturally with clean, non-toxic ingredients that you can actually recognize and pronounce. There's no side effects, no junk, no parabens, no fragrance, preservatives, or common allergens like corn, soy, gluten, dairy, or nuts. Just pure, effective products that actually work. I started with their Goodnight Lotion and Immune Aid Vitamin C, and then I got into their tinctures. And honestly, every single product I've tried has been a game changer in my life. They've supported me through my fertility journey, and I genuinely would not recommend them if I didn't believe in them wholeheartedly. And I'm not the only one, you guys. I've heard from clients and listeners who've experienced incredible shifts as well. One person said, my sleep has improved a ton since using the gut health oil. It in April, and almost 2 months later, my sleep has sustained. Another person shared, my menstrual cycle has been off for years, and the only supplement I added was the gut health oil. Since starting it, my cycle has been more regular. Here's the thing, our society has normalized living with symptoms. It's messed up. Thyroid issues, hormonal imbalances, heavy, painful periods, daily bloating. We've been told that's just how it is. It's normal. But you guys, it doesn't have to be. These are symptoms, and there's an underlying root cause for all of them. Earthly has products that support not just the symptoms, but the root of what's going on. As a mental health therapist, I recommend Earthly products to my therapy clients all the time. I always suggest trying something holistic first and foremost, something that won't create dependency or side effects, and Earthly delivers on that every single time. They have products for all ages, body care, herbal remedies, vitamins, cleaning products, baby products, skincare. It's truly a one-stop shop for anyone who's ready to take their health into their own hands. So if you're tired of the side effects, tired of Band-Aid solutions, or just ready to invest in your health the right way, head to earthly.com using the link in my show notes. And here's the best part. If you're a first-time customer, you can use code CHOOSENATURAL, that's all caps, CHOOSENATURAL, for 10% off. If you're a returning customer, you can use code COMEBACK for 10% off. That's all caps, COMEBACK for 10% off as well. Your health is an investment. Make it a clean one.
Exactly. We all did. It's like we see, and this is one of the things that like I hate about social media. It's like we see these people that we don't know their backstory all the time, or we don't know their full backstory, or we see someone and they're like, oh my God, she's an overnight success. It's like, no,
Yes.
she's been putting in the work for the past 5, 10,
Yeah.
15 years to get to where she is right now. There is no such thing as that overnight success. You're just
Like it
not
wasn't,
seeing all the work that's been done, behind the scenes.
yes. Yeah. Like it wasn't some like shiny yellow brick road leading them. Like there was trials, there were triumphs they had to go through to get there. It was not all sunshine and rainbows getting there.
Exactly. But even if
Yeah.
we look at the yellow brick road, Dorothy had struggles that she went through to get to
Absolutely.
Oz. And even when
Absolutely.
she got to Oz, she still had struggles.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. There were blocks still. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. So you definitely like can speak to the concept of going through your own mess to get to where you're at today. I mean, it's a part
Yeah,
of your journey.
yeah, I've had my fair share of, sitting on the bathroom floor, bawling my eyes out.
Yeah. Was there a time in that journey where, like, again, like as a therapist, I really recognize how it can be so easy to set up camp in that victim mindset where you're like, woe is me. This sucks. I don't deserve this. Why is this happening to me? And I always give my clients permission, like it's okay to like let yourself be a victim. It's okay to feel like you are a victim to your circumstances, but there's a difference between giving yourself permission to feel it and setting up camp there. And
Live by feel the feelings, don't become the emotions.
yeah, perfect. Very well said. Yep, I agree. Yeah.
So yeah. It was before Christmas when my car was repossessed. Did I spend days on the couch, afterwards, curled up with a blanket, binging, Christmas Hallmark movies?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I, you know, have a really deep moment? Because that January I did, I got my car back, and that January I did drive, down to North Carolina. Yeah. Did I have that deep reflection as I was driving? Yes. Oh, I was in North Carolina when I discovered that my bank accounts were frozen. I was like, okay, we figure this out. We make this work. It's like, okay, this is what you have to do.
Yep.
This is
Yeah.
when like the unfreeze will, take place.
Yep. Wow. Okay. There was like a series of messy moments for you. Was there a moment in time where you like got your spark back, where you realized like, I've been through the worst of the worst, but now I can officially say I've made it to the other side? Like, was it when you started the podcast? Was it when you finally published the book? Like, was there a moment in time when you were like, all of that had to happen for me to get here today?
So good question. Yeah. The At first I thought it was when I was writing the book. And
Mm,
then when I launched the book, I thought I was gonna have like this amazing high. And yes, I did have an amazing high, but the book wasn't what I wanted it to be. As I sat there and I looked back, like the book wasn't what I wanted it to be. And that was where, I made the decision. I actually made the decision last year, in 2024, that I was going to rewrite it. But what happened in 24 was I needed to come back to self before I could write again. My nervous system was fried beyond fried because just when I would get myself, so all this happened, 2018 to like 2000.
okay. Okay.
Okay. So we get to
Yeah.
2020 and we all know what happens in
Right.
2020.
Right.
Like just as I was ready to start coming out of this cocoon, the world stopped. And we all went inward again. But it was that October of 2020 where I decided that I was going to take not a year long, I'm sorry, a month long road trip.
Okay.
And that's what I did. I took a month long road trip and it just brought me back to life. Or I shouldn't say fully back to life. It brought me back to life, but not fully back to life.
Okay. Okay.
And it was 2021. I spent most of the year uh, living with my brother, taking care
Sure.
of my niece.
Okay.
And my niece is my why. That bigger picture, future generation, role
Hmm.
model, etc. She is my why. It was like having her there daily, like being her primary caretaker during the day, deepening that bond and that connection with her that we already have. And then at night, doing five element theory research and creating stuff and just try to put myself back out there. And then in the end of 2021, the end of 2021, January of 22, my dad unexpectedly got sick and 3 months later passed away. So here I am just ready to like, okay, let's go. Let's do all this. Oh, and then my dad dies unexpectedly. I cried for 34 days straight. And it was through that grieving process that I actually edited my book.
Oh, you made something beautiful out of a really hard season.
Yeah, because it was the only thing that I could do really at
Yeah,
that time. I was
sure.
in no place to be serving other people. I didn't have the bandwidth for anything. So this is where I could sit there and if I edited for 10 minutes and then took a nap for half an hour, at least at least something was done.
Yeah, you're still moving the needle. Yeah.
I'm still exactly because that's all that I
Yeah.
had the bandwidth for. And
Right.
that's where every day, the first thing that was on my to-do list was honor what you're feeling. Because
And
not only did I unexpectedly lose my dad, 3 weeks later, I unexpectedly lost my grandma.
wow.
So
Yeah,
here I
two
am
generations.
exactly. Here I am grieving beyond grieving, where at some points I didn't even know who I was crying for.
Yeah.
There were
Yeah.
days where I was living on whiskey and ice cream.
Not always a bad combo, though.
But
Not always a bad combo.
no,
I
not
used
always
to
that
love that.
combo. But when you're going through a half a gallon of
Yeah.
ice cream every 2 days, it's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
That's fair. Yep.
But how I was writing, the first thing on my to-do list every single day was honor what you're feeling. And
Because so often we don't give ourselves that permission. So often, instead, we push it and stuff it
stuff it.
down.
Exactly. So if a song came on when I was in the supermarket buying ice cream, I
Yep.
let the tears flow.
Yep. Yep. Love it.
If once I got myself back into, because I also do, you know, promotional work within, wine and spirits. If I was doing a promotion and I saw someone that, a mannerism reminded me of my dad
Yeah.
or, something that reminded me of my grandma and I started to well up, it's like, nope, just let it flow.
Nice. Nice.
And
So you
that's
really were giving yourself permission
giving
to
myself,
go through the
yeah,
grief, which we don't typically
we don't.
do that.
No, and when we give ourselves permission just to feel, we know how to process it so much better when it happens the next
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Because
Yeah. Perfect. Yes. You're exactly right.
because grief is something that we're always going to go through.
Yeah. Yep. Whether it be grief because somebody actually passed away in our life, or grief because somebody walked out of our life willingly, or
Mhm.
grief because expectations weren't met the way we thought they would be in our life. Like there's so many different kinds of grief that I mean, I truly believe like we all have some kind of grief going on at almost every chapter of our life.
Yes,
So, yeah, 100%. But if you don't learn to face the grief, if you don't give yourself permission to really feel into it, it's going to come up later in life at another kind of loss 10 times stronger. And that compounded grief is heavy. So, good for you.
exactly. But it's not only grief. It's like I said, I cried for 34 days straight. And it's like that day that I didn't cry, I was like, I started judging myself. I started like shaming myself. It's like, wait, you didn't cry today. No, wait a second. Let's celebrate the fact that you didn't cry today. It's like you've just been feeling it so much that it's like it doesn't, it still hurts.
Right.
But there is that tiny itsy bitsy bit that doesn't hurt as much anymore.
Okay. Okay.
It's like you can celebrate that.
The growth. Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
celebrate, like honor the happy feelings also.
Mm, I agree. Because it's all a part of the grief, even the happy
Exactly.
feelings. Yeah. Yep. Sometimes I think when we're grieving, we tell ourselves this story that I'm not allowed to be happy or I'm not allowed to celebrate or I'm not allowed to be excited about things. And it's like, no, you still have to feel those emotions too. You get to experience all of them when you're grieving. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was 2024 where I spent the year just traveling. I spent a good part of the year in Canada, with different friends, and
Okay.
just really allowed my nervous system because I had to remove myself from where I was.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
where I was living in 2023 was a completely toxic environment. I was doing a house share with several other people, and it just became a completely toxic, unhealthy environment.
Good for you for recognizing that.
That I just had to get out of. And
Yeah.
a friend of mine in Canada was like, your room's waiting for you. And I kept saying to her, once the weather gets warmer, once the weather gets warmer, once the weather gets warmer. And, I left in March. I left the house that I was living in March of 24, and I didn't know where I was going, but I left. Friends of mine, their mom has a beach house, and I stayed in the beach house. I did stay with another friend for a couple nights here and there, learned a whole lot about that friendship, which no longer exists, and then got on the plane in May and spent like 3.5 months in Canada just healing, just allowing myself just to go inward, to be with nature. I did a 10-mile solo kayak trip down the Columbia River, which was probably one of the most healing things I ever could have done for myself.
Bet. I bet. Wow. Just in general, being amongst the water, I just find water to be so healing. I can imagine that being a really transformative experience. Yeah. Wow.
So it really took me till like this year to be like, okay, like, I'm ready. Like, let's go. Let's do this. Like, my nervous system is ready.
It's amazing. So you went through all of that from 2018 to 2024. And through that, you published a book when did you start your podcast? What year was that?
So I started my podcast in September of 20, well, yeah, September of 24.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Became a hot mess. The irony.
Right.
And I had to stop for
Yep.
various reasons.
Yep. Yep.
Relaunched with a new podcast
Yep.
in March or so. Did 10 episodes of that show and killed it because it did not feel aligned, and knew that hot mess magic had to come back.
Amazing. So a lot of not just the book, but the podcast coming out of all of that. And now you are pouring into your business. Can you talk to listeners about what you're building right now?
Yeah. So there are two key things that I'm building right now. Well, actually, probably more than two. So, yes, I'm building the speaking side of my business, stages, workshops, conferences. So, I'm building that side. I'm building my expansion sessions, taking people deeper into their journey. Like, let's expand, let's grow. And then I have an anthology series of that is just like near and dear to my heart, which
Yeah.
it's one of the first things that's really lit me up in a long time, which Lori Harder actually inspired in September with her Audacity Challenge,
Okay.
is
Okay.
when this came to me.
Love it.
And it's called RAW. And what RAW stands for is Real Audacious Women.
Yeah.
And it is a 4-part anthology series where the first book is Surviving the Lies That We've Been Told. So all about, survival, trauma, resiliency. The second book is motherhood, the stories that we don't tell.
Mhm.
So the illusion of motherhood, how it's supposed to be perfect and, all that, Hallmark, sort of stuff,
Right.
that we're taught. Let's get real here on motherhood.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
Uh,
not Pinterest worthy lives. Let's be honest.
exactly. Then the third book is Sex, Shame, and the Body.
Love.
And then the fourth book is Money, Career, and Wealth.
That is going to be a powerful series.
Yes. And then what makes this series even so much more powerful and so much more than just another anthology book is everyone who contributes to the book, everyone who's physically in the book, $100 from their contribution pack or from their contribution package,
Yes.
$100 from that is going towards Rising Hope. And Rising Hope is my friend Alexis Carpenter's organization
Yeah.
where she works with foster youths that are aging out of the foster care system, providing them with the mentoring, the resources that they need in order to survive in the real world. Because
Yeah.
so many foster kids, when they leave the system, they end up in those messy situations.
Yeah.
Statistically, they end up, in jail, homeless,
Yeah. Yeah.
pregnant, etcetera. So
Yeah.
this book has that component to prevent future generations from going through these messy situations.
Yeah, Alexis came on the podcast, and I've just gotta say, like, what she is doing for that population is oh, it's powerful work. There's such a need for it, and her story is just so beautiful, and yeah, she's just doing really amazing things with the population, youth who have gone through the foster care system. She's so inspiring on so many levels, so I love that you are supporting that cause because that has become a cause that is just near and dear to my heart. Love that.
Exactly. The book then becomes medicine
Yeah.
twice.
Yes.
It
Yep. It's
becomes that
giving back.
medicine for the reader
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
for, those kids, for that future generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, submissions are opened the for the first book.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you feel called, for one of the other books,
Yeah.
you could submit for that book as well, and we can just, earmark it for when that book
Yeah.
is ready.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And I'm assuming the best way for them to get the submission form is to subscribe to your newsletter, correct?
Yeah, you can subscribe to the
Yeah.
newsletter
Yeah.
or,
Or
you
DM you or
know
whatever.
or, send me, a DM on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I can, get you the link that way as well.
But yeah, I saw that in my emails this morning and I marked it because I'm like, I definitely want to save this for myself. And I also think there's others that need to subscribe to your newsletter that probably would be intrigued by that offer to be a part of that series. So
Yeah, so by all
love
means,
that.
share away.
Yeah, such a great project that you're working on. Are there any other projects coming down the pipe?
Nothing in general, just keeping the eye out for, insights on, the raw anthology, on, just hot mess magic in general.
Yeah, if there's a part of you that is really intrigued by what Michelle is sharing, you know, I know it can be intimidating. What I really love is you said like you had to do the work to practically like crack yourself open like Humpty Dumpty. And I think if you are finally in a place in your life where you're sick of going through the mess and you are ready to be cracked open, then Michelle's probably your woman to support you through that journey. Who better to work with someone than truly somebody who's been through her fair share of messes? That's Michelle's whole brand. That's what she's living and breathing. And there's so many coaches out there that specialize in so many different things. But if you want somebody to do that deep healing work, to pull those things out of you that maybe you're struggling to see yourself, then I really think this is the person you need to reach out to because I will also say, like, doing that deep inner work, working on those deep insecurities, those deep triggers has been the best thing for me. It's also been the best thing for my business as well. And I think you can learn all the marketing tactics, you can learn all about AI, you can learn all about social media, and all of that's great for your business. I'm not diminishing any of that. But what's even better for your business is healing you. That has been the best thing for my business amongst everything else that I've poured into. If you've been running a business for years, but you've never truly invested in you, then this might be your sign. This might be the nudge to do so. Would you agree, Michelle?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. Become a student of yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
Like
100%.
learn yourself because
Yeah.
that's going to take you further than anything.
Yep. I completely agree. Michelle, what would be the best way for people to reach out to you if they would like to work with you?
But reach out to me or would be you can connect with me on Instagram at Michelle A Burke or send me an email, Michelle 2Ls at michelleaburke.com.
Okay, and I'll drop all of that in the show notes for listeners. Before we wrap up, I like to end with some rapid fire questions. But before we go into that, is there any final words that you'd like to share with listeners? Any key takeaways that you just really want to make sure they take with them?
I guess the only key takeaway would be oh, give yourself grace. Like stop. Like we are our own worst enemies. Like stop judging yourself. Stop criticizing yourself. If you wouldn't say it to someone else, don't say it to yourself.
Yes. Yeah. That's something I feel so many people could benefit from is giving yourself more grace. I think try, I think we're better at giving that to others, but we struggle at giving that to ourselves. We hold ourselves to these unrealistic expectations more often than not.
Exactly. It's like take yourself off the pedestal.
Yeah. 100% agree. Yeah. Great advice. Okay, so I like to end with some rapid fire questions. So, what is one daily habit that you try to incorporate into your routine that makes you feel like your next level self?
My one daily routine is my morning cup of tea.
Love it. Yeah, what's your go to tea?
It varies.
Yeah, that's good. Mix it up from time to time. Yeah, I
It
love that.
varies.
Yeah. Okay. What is one destination that you will put on your vision board for 2026 that you'd like to?
What's coming to me is Alaska, which is just weird, but okay.
Cool. Yeah, that's never been a place that I've like wanted to go to, but I'm intrigued. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
Like that that's why I was pausing because I was judging it.
Yeah, that yeah, that's fair. But if that's what came to you, there's something with that. I love it. What is one thing that if you could manifest it instantly, you would like to manifest?
I could manifest it. My own beach house.
Oh my God, same. Michelle, same. Yeah, I love that goal. That's been on my vision board for a couple of years now. So I don't focus on it as much as I focus on the other things on there, but it's a constant. Yeah, I love that. Is there a certain part of the country that you'd like it to be located in?
Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay. Is that where you're from originally?
No,
Okay.
no,
Okay. But you have
I'm
family.
yeah, I'm in New Jersey. I'm actually at the beach in New Jersey. My brother's in my brother's in South Carolina, but he's like right over the border.
Very cool. That's one part of the country I have not been to yet, but I would love to go to the coast of North Carolina at some point. It looks beautiful in pictures. So, okay, last one. Is there a book that you would recommend to readers that has inspired you?
The book that always and it's funny, it's Stephen Pressfield, and it's gonna sound really funny because it's one of my favorites, and I can't think of the name of the book.
I get it. I struggle to remember titles, so I get it.
Well, but it's all about resistance.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's actually a powerful concept as well, like facing resistance.
Yeah. Oh, The Art of War. There we go.
The
The Art of War is the inner war that we have
Yeah.
with ourselves.
Okay, that's where the
Right.
resistance comes in. Okay.
Yeah, and it's, a book that I read at least
Interesting. Is it a fast read?
it's a fast read.
Okay, I've heard of The Art of War. You're not the first person to mention that. Okay,
Yeah, The Art of
interesting.
War, it's a fast, quick, easy read.
Okay. It sounds like it's one of those reads that forces you to face parts of yourself that maybe need to be faced.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
way that he writes it is they're short chapters. Sometimes the chapter is just a paragraph,
Sure. Sure.
but there's so much that's dropped within that paragraph that you're like, oof, that's dull. Like, okay, yep, got it.
Well, okay, I'm going to add that to my list. Awesome. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story and sharing your expertise with my listeners. I have no doubt that this is going to resonate with the right person that needs to hear from you and potentially work with you. So thank you for being vulnerable and being willing to share. You guys, if there's anything that was shared today that just really resonates with you, one, definitely give her podcast a listen. And two, follow her on Instagram. And what I appreciate more than anything is just sharing this in your story, sharing it with friends who you think need to hear this. The shares really mean a lot to me, and it really helps to grow the podcast. And growing the podcast is my number one goal. So thank you guys for tuning in today. And thank you again, Michelle. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys all next week.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self, and I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on socials so we can keep spreading the Next Level You energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go!